On today's podcast, Connecting the Dots with Your Self-Worth, we're going to be jumping right into self-worth. Self-worth is the unlock. And self-worth is often intertwined with self-esteem and self-confidence. So we're going to talk a little bit about the differences. Self is a core belief that you are valuable and deserving of respect regardless of external achievements and opinions. Unlike self esteem and self confidence, those are both external factors. So self esteem is when somebody compliments you, or you do a task well, or and you get positive feedback from that, and it makes you feel good about yourself that people are recognizing some qualities that you have. But that's also fleeting. That's also temporary. Self-confidence, same thing. Self-confidence, like uh, having a skill or being an athlete, and it's something you love, and you put a lot of work into it. You practice, and you just get better, and your confidence builds. And that again, external, very temporary. All both of those are very valuable to help with your self-worth. But when those go away, self-worth is still laying there internally by itself. So that's the unlock. When you believe in your intrinsic value, you make choices aligned with your authentic self. Again, not driven by external factors. The authenticity creates fulfillment and satisfaction. Moreover, take out moreover, how you treat others is a reflection of your self worth. When you recognize your own value, you extend empathy and kindness to those around you. Positive relationships flourish in an environment where individuals appreciate their worth and that of others. Self worth is what determines how you handle challenges and stressors in your life, all contributing to the well being of yourself and those around you. Remember that you are inherently valuable. Cultivate self worth. As you embark on your journey, you'll find a strong sense of self worth is not just a personal asset, but it's a catalyst for positive change in your life and the lives of others. Okay, Paul, I know you've got some questions from a post I put up on Instagram a couple of days ago, asking people to ask me questions about self worth. And we've got over several hundred questions. I was able to answer a lot of them on Instagram, but with our show today, we're going to answer some of the more popular ones where each one of these themselves there was that same multiple question, maybe asked in different ways. So I tried to catch as much as I could. So yeah, why don't we just start off with the first question? What you got?
Yeah, I had no idea it was several hundred. These are going
Yeah.
to be some good ones then, if it's narrowed down to that. Cool. Okay. First question from Instagram is, what is the best way to negative talk?
Well, and again, the reason I picked that one is we talk about that a lot. We talk about the cognitive behavioral therapy and the thought pattern interruption. I'm very familiar with this because I still use it as much as I need to daily. I'm just very efficient with it. So as you learn and you do this more, you will get more and more efficient with it and quicker. And that's the payoff. So thought pattern interruption. So as soon as you start getting those negative voices come in, um, you immediately attack them with positives and you bury them. You smother them. You do not give those any relief until they subside. That is the trick. Sometimes it's going to take a little bit longer, and that's what you have to work on yourself to get in to allow that to happen. A better way to say that, accept that it's just part of what happens if you want to move through this. Look, you may be in situations with work or whatever it is you're doing through the day that you just can't, start talking to yourself or start, disengaged from a meeting or something and then start, that process in your mind. But you do the best you can when those things happen. And a lot of times during those stressors of a meeting or at work or being with someone that you're in a relationship with and you're out to dinner or whatever you get triggered, it's not always, you're able to do that. So, and the last thing I want to say about it, remember those voices in your head, those were put there by someone else. These are not made up. These are not, they may be expanded on. Those demons are tricky. They like to switch it up, but they're coming from somewhere. And so, always, like we talked about in this week's episode of journaling, it's great to learn how to connect the dots. That's what we're talking about today. And I feel compelled to also talk about the journaling with this. And when these things do happen, if you can pull your journal out and write down what's happening in your mind and what's going on, and then ask yourselves those questions. Again, you're designing your own questions, but who'd you just talk to? Where are you at? What's the temperature outside? What'd you just eat? All those things that will then eventually show a pattern. So then you can go back and work on them. So hopefully that helps with that.
Quick question on top of that. So you are the self-care savage, Scott. I mean, that's your brand. You still
right.
you still fight this? You still have negative self-talk pop in there just out of curiosity?
No, and that's absolutely. It's it for me, and I clinically can't tell you if this is something you can cut out of your brain. I'm pretty sure I know enough in my own research, and especially with cognitive behavioral therapy, it's not just going to go away. You're just not going to wake up one morning and have these amazing, beautiful thoughts, and nothing if interferes with them, uh, so yes, it's something I deal with a lot. But here's the trick that I've learned. I've accepted. These are the tools. These are the non-negotiables that I'm always going to push everybody toward, like the journaling, the gratitude. But yes, it's something I deal with daily. Yes.
Okay. Awesome. All right, let's get the next one out of the mailbag, the digital mailbag. All right. So why do I always worry about what other people think or letting them down?
Yeah, that's again. This is well. First of all, just what we're talking about. First of all, you have low self-worth. I mean, that's why you are more concerned about the opinions of others than your own. And that's the dangerous piece you're having to deal with, because that's how you're living your life. You're living your life making decisions about how those people that you care about their opinions more than your own, trying to craft that opinion in their head with how you think they want you to look, or how you better not say this, or you should say this. You're just wiping out that authenticity. So you've got to go to work in understanding and ask yourself a question. Why do you care what someone else thinks? Why do you care that someone else feels you've let them down? Even if you've put everything into it, you think you've done an amazing job, or you felt very loving and caring with what you did, yet you still, they're giving you this information that you would let them down. That's just going to happen. You can't please everybody in life. That's the first thing you have to just get over. But again, temporary. You have to go to work, the self-care savage work. You've got to go understand. You got to be journaling when these things happen. How are you feeling? Start connecting some dots. Who did you just talk to? What did they say to you? And you might start realizing that information came from your mom. Maybe it was from all the women in your family, because that's the way they operated, and how way they were brought up, and ideas that were put in their head, and how they were critical of each other, or whatever they were doing. Nothing was ever enough. And that is, once you find those things out and you connect those dots with the journaling, you're able to then go back and deal with it, come back here, and understand it's over and done with. Let it go. It was your mom and them, whoever back then, and it has nothing to do with you. It's voices in your head. Back to the present. Now you know. Now go forward with that information. So when these triggers come up again, or you start feeling that way, now you have the tools. You write it down. You know it's in the past. It doesn't matter anymore, and you're able to go forward with a whole different mindset. You just get better and better and better and better at that.
I think you've got some good friendly reminders around that too that I've seen. Not off the top of my head, but I've definitely seen some that you've had where you're like, who cares what
Yeah,
other people? Who cares what other people say? Or or I don't know the
yeah.
exact phrasing. Yeah.
Well, it look it the friendly reminders or any way that you end up phrasing it is again, you have to remember these people can be family, they can be friends. Usually they are. They're somehow in your circle close, and these and so there's an importance in certainly those relationships. But if you want to feel better and get better, you're the one that's having concerns about that. You know it's holding you back. You know you're not doing things that you want to do to make yourself peaceful, to bring some peace and happiness to your life. And you're not understanding why it affects you so much and makes you feel the way you feel. Well, sometimes you have to remember that you have to cut that out. Like you have to cut that person out. You have to limit your time with them, and you have to make space for people that can come into your life. You have to make space. Remember, you're not letting these other people in your life that are giving you positive feedback and are encouraging or supportive or and the reason you're not is because again you don't have any room, and you're not. It's not because if you were and you had let those people in, then you would have already cleared a lot of the deck. Because if you had people like that in your life, that then you wouldn't allow these others to be treating you the way you're treating you. Remember, you teach people how to treat you. And this is a big piece of that. And I put up a friendly reminder um, yesterday that talked about upgrading the people around you. And you, the only way you can do that is you have to upgrade yourself first, and you have to create this your own environment.
All right. Number 3, out of the mailbag. Here we go. How to handle constructive criticism without letting it affect your self-worth.
Yeah, so again, another good one. So first of all, anybody that gives you unsolicited opinions, so you have to just right off the bat, if you can just brand it into your brain. That's how much it matters. It matters zero. Unsolicited opinions about how you live your life or what's going on with you is it makes has no bearing, and you should not allow that in your brain whatsoever. Um, the other thing is too is it is always good to listen to constructive criticism, especially if you ask for it, or in your job a lot of times you're gonna get it, from the people that that you answer to, or even if you have partners, you have your own business, or you still are working with people and you're part of groups and things like that, and you're gonna and then again all your personal relationships, and a lot of times you're in conversations and you open it up to constructive criticism. And just like I've told my kids for years, is you may not like what's being said, but there's always something in there you can bring some value from. So take what fits and throw away the rest. Okay? Just there's going to be pieces in there you can apply somewhere. There's going to be something if you're listening and you're willing to listen to it. And just take what fits and throw away the rest. You're letting it affect your self-worth is because of the low self-worth and you're damaged. That's the other opportunity and the indication you need to know if you want to be better at accepting constructive criticism. Then go get to work on yourself. That self-care savage work. Ask yourself, why do you crumble? Why is it such a big deal? Why does it have such an effect on you? when somebody wants to try to help you. And the only way they can is giving truthful feedback. And if it's done appropriately and lovingly and all that, why do you still want to crawl under a rock and hide? I know, because that's the way I always was. And what you end up doing when you don't go to work on yourself with this specific question is you end up doing everything you can to prevent anybody looking at you unfavorably and staying out of any situations to take constructive criticism. And then you lose having those moments, those times that could really be beneficial to you to be able to take constructive criticism. So what you need to do again is go to work on yourself. Why is it making you crumble? Find out what that is. Journal, connect those dots. Every time it's coming up or you're triggered around it, again, get after the work in a journal, connect the dots eventually, go back to where it was, who put those in your head, who was just overly critical, who would tell you this is constructive criticism, but then turn around and tell you you're stupid. Whatever it was, realize that you didn't put it in your head. And it's over. It's done with. Come back to now and go, okay, I'm going to be different. I'm going to work to accept information from other people that want to actually help me. And as long as it's done, appropriately and lovingly, and you know the difference in that. You're even letting it get triggered because of that as well. So, it's on you. It's on you. Ask yourself these questions back. Sometimes you can go from there and figure it out.